As an Amazon associate, we earn from qualifying purchases. This podcast is supported by its listeners. If you choose to purchase something using links on our website, we may earn a commission. No books were warped, dog-eared, underlined with purple pen, eaten, cursed, cancelled, burned, or otherwise harmed in the making of this podcast. I'm Tom Tolkien, and this is the School Reading List, a podcast that recommends books you'll want your children to read and books you'll wish you'd read as a child. To kick off episode 43 of the School Reading List podcast, let's rip open some book post. Lily Tripp, Diary of an Accidental Time Traveller by Amelia Tait. Every New Year's Day, Lily wakes up in a different century. She has no control over where or when she lands and has to cope with unfamiliar rules, clothes and customs when keeping her secret. Told through punchy and accessible diary entries, this stunning debut story mixes laugh-out-loud humour with contemporary friendship worries, family life and a quiet crush. Each jump brings a new historical setting to life, launching a spectacular time-slip series for 10-plus-year-old readers. Addictively readable, Lily Tripp is highly recommended for Upper Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 3 readers. Pop-Up Dinosaurium by Chris Wormell. 6 stunning pop-up spreads bring prehistoric creatures into close view, from swift Deinonychus hunters to a towering Brachiosaurus reaching for treetops. A striking interactive gift book for 5-plus-year-olds, it uses Chris Wormell's immersive artwork and short factual text to introduce armoured dinosaurs, horned dinosaurs, plant eaters and predators in a format built perfectly for browsing. Highly recommended. Bart is Different by Barroux. Restless young Bart does not behave like the other spiders. He runs, jumps, daydreams and makes patterns with his thread. For 4-plus-year-olds, this outstanding picture book turns loneliness and difference into an engaging and memorable story about confidence, creativity and finding a way to be understood in the world. It's highly recommended for reading and discussing with imaginative children in EYFS. Biguana and His Best Friend Pinto by Michael Parkin. Biguana and Pinto have been best friends since they were eggs, but Biguana's growing size brings so much attention that he forgets to be a good friend. A funny picture book for 2 to 5-year-olds that uses one very big iguana and one very overlooked pal to explore friendship, jealousy and making amends. A great read aloud for preschool children. Again, Said Rabbit by Marjoke Henrichs. The third in the popular series, this seaside story follows Rabbit, who wants to do everything again and again, turning play, patience and persistence into a gentle comic rhyming read-aloud story. A brightly illustrated picture book for 3-plus-year-olds, it's well suited to EYFS children who recognise the comfort of repetition and the frustration of learning when to stop. Highly recommended. Max and the Haircuts by Samareh Azardi. At Wendy's hairdressing salon, Max finds the haircut just too much. With bright lights, loud noises, cold water spray, an unfamiliar shoulder cloth, spiky hair clips, and then the snapping scissors. But when, in desperation, he shouts, "Stop!" Wendy listens and changes her approach, using a cat, a cushion, and bubbles to help him manage the rest of the cut. The story gives young children and adults a clear, practical way to talk about sensory overload, anxiety, and how adults can make useful adjustments. It's ideal for reading and discussing in early years. The Blue Tomato by Amber Au. Blue moves into a town full of tomatoes and quickly realises he's the only one who's blue. His attempt to turn red gives 3 to 6-year-olds a clear visual story about fitting in, feeling different, and learning to value what makes someone stand apart. Amber Owl's debut picture book uses subtle, pared-back artwork, gentle humour, and an absorbing tomato world to explore self-acceptance. It's perfect to read and discuss with EYFS. Are You Looking at Me? By Philip Ardagh, illustrated by Enrico Lorenzi. A big brown bear is only the beginning in this noisy, attention-grabbing, stare-filled animal parade, with gawping gibbons, leering lions, frowning frogs, and a peering python all joining in. Perfect for 3 to 6-year-olds, this catchy, rhyming text is built for read-aloud fun, while Enrico Lorenzi's fun-soaked bold illustrations and fluorescent hues add extra comic punch. Highly recommended, this is likely to become a repeat bedtime story hit. The Old Man and the Penguin by Julie Abery and Pierre Pratt. This true picture book story for 3 to 7-year-olds follows G.O.A.T, who finds an oil-soaked penguin on the beach and takes it home to clean, feed and care for it. Once the bird recovers, he plans to return it to the sea, but it keeps coming back. Perfect for reading aloud in EYFS and Key Stage 1, this moving picture book about friendship and determination also opens up discussion about pollution and wildlife rescue. Pierre Pratt's sparkling illustrations exude warmth, character and charm as they follow the story to an uplifting conclusion. Highly recommended. Superheroes in the Park by Ian Eagleton and Hayley Wells. A little boy wants a proper park adventure with Dad and Daddy, but every rope, swing and icy path seems to come with a warning. This warm-hearted picture book for 4+-year-olds turns frustration into imaginative play as the family become pirates, birds and superheroes together with a diverse and inclusive family story at its centre. Highly recommended. Food for All by Mary Hoffman and Ross Asquith. This book takes a deep dive into where our food comes from, how it's shared, and what it means for the planet. It tackles big questions: why some people go hungry while others waste food, whether organic or vegetarian diets make a difference, and how farming shapes the environment. With lively illustrations and a dash of humour, it breaks down complex issues in an accessible way for 4 to 7-year-olds, and it's ideal for sparking discussion. Highly recommended and now available in paperback. The Fawn Who Chased the Sun by Joanna McInerney, Phung Nguyen Quang and Hung Thi Kim Lien. When a fawn sees the sun set for the first time, he sets off to find out where it's gone. Joanna McInerney's enchanting fable for 5 to 7-year-olds follows him on that awe-inspiring journey, which prompts children to look at and appreciate what's around them. The artwork is both atmospheric and spectacular, and this hardback edition, perfect for gifting and prize giving, is foiled throughout. A stunning book, highly recommended. G.O.A.T, The Greatest of All Time by Karel Tobias, illustrated by Harry Briggs. G.O.A.T arrives at Harmony Farm, calling him the greatest of all time, but his confidence soon irritates Rooster and offends Horse, whose dance moves are the local legend. An epic dance battle follows with notorious P.I.G. on the music and G.O.A.T's claims under pressure. This brightly illustrated farm-based graphic novel for 6 to 9-year-olds offers short, laugh-out-loud chapters with an anarchic animal cast and lots of visual humour. It's perfect for low-key stage 2. Tales of the Cobb Street Commandos by Tony Bradman. London's East End, 1941. With the war closing in, Jimmy and his mates form a secret outfit called the Cobb Street Commandos, turning empty houses into HQs and warehouses into training grounds. Cobbling together helmets and kits from whatever they can scrounge, their missions start with wartime jobs around the city, including raising money for Spitfire planes and training alongside soldiers. Eventually, they build towards a trip to see Prime Minister Winston Churchill. It's a pacey, satisfying to read, highly illustrated series opener that will inspire less confident readers to learn more about World War II. Highly recommended for group reading in Key Stage 2. Wild Heart by Beck Manser. In Twigswick, children are raised on 3 important rules. Stay inside the rune posts, run when the warning bell sounds, and fear spirits. Nettle Sourbud has always lived in the shadow of her sister Fern, so when she finds out that Fern has left the Wild Heart Rangers for the Shadow Stalkers, intrepid Nettle steps into Dryder Forest to find her. Only there does she face hollow spirits and begin to uncover what Fern is actually doing. Full of atmosphere, relatable characters, inclusivity and spooky changes of pace, Wild Heart is a joy to read. The first in a series, it's a highly original and gripping fantasy story that's guaranteed to entrance 8+-year-olds. Highly recommended for Key Stage 2. The Other Naughts by Claire Pollard. 11-year-old Phoebe is bored of her island, so she sneaks aboard the Argo and straight into Jason's quest for the Golden Fleece. Travelling with a ragtag group of children, she faces monsters, gods and danger alongside the famous heroes. Told from Phoebe's point of view, this reimagined story for 8 to 13-year-olds plays with Greek myth, adding humour and sharp twists that give a familiar adventure a contemporary and original feel. Wishbound by Clemency Brown. Leonie has the power to grant wishes, but every spell comes with a cost. Fleeing her old life, she finds a new home and friendship with Cress, who's deaf and uses British Sign Language. As Leonie learns what her magic demands, the compelling plot explores choice, responsibility and found family. Set across a series of striking locations, Leonie must think about friendship, trust and deciding when not to use her power at all. A satisfying and inclusive read for upper Key Stage 2 children. Honey, I Ate the Kids by Kerry Hindman and Mike Hills. Animal family life gets a brisk, eye-opening treatment in this fun-packed non-fiction book for 9 to 11-year-olds, with facts on everything from Komodo dragons eating their young to capybaras eating poo and glass frogs using ninja kicks to protect their eggs. Kerry Hindman and Mike Hills pack each page with facts, quizzes and activities, balancing the revolting with the surprisingly heartwarming. It's the type of non-fiction that Key Stage 2 pupils will dip into for one fact and keep returning to day after day. Highly recommended. Transcendent Forgotten Earth by Patrick Gallagher. In this, the third of a popular adventure thriller series, Jacob and Kira now face a world plunged into climate catastrophe after their defeat by the nefarious billionaire Nosfer. A high-octane 9 to 12-year-old eco-tech thriller, it sends the twins into the Oracle virtual reality universe, where grief, memory, and a hidden trail may hold the only way to free the population and stop disaster. It's a gripping read. Bonehead, Guardian of the Underworld by Jamie Gregory. Demise is a skeleton guardian with one ambition, to get Hades to notice him. It doesn't go well. The castle gates collapse, and he and Mort are sent to dog-sit Cerberus, the 3-headed dog of the underworld. That punishment soon becomes a frantic escape through fire, dragons, and worse. Told in page-turning diary format with Mort's witty comments and vibrant 2-colour illustrations, it has plenty of underworld chaos for fun-seeking 9 to 12-year-olds. Highly recommended. Strike by Mitch Johnson. Owen Sharp is on the brink of joining a Premier League club when a note hidden in his new boots makes him stop and think. The desperate message leads him to the factory workers who made his kit and the harsh conditions they work under. Suddenly, Owen has to choose between pushing ahead with his dream or speaking up for people he's never met. The story blends football with themes of justice, responsibility and difficult life choices. Brilliant book for 10+-year-olds to read in the run-up to the World Cup. Highly recommended. The Curator's Collection, an A to Z of fungi by Esther Geyer, illustrated by Katie Scott. Mushrooms, moulds, lichens and mycelia are arranged alphabetically in a compact illustrated guide inspired by Fungarium and created with Q scientific expertise. A handsome hardback nature gift book for 10-plus-year-olds, it combines Katie Scott's detailed artwork with clear entries that introduce the strange, colourful and essential kingdom of fungi. Highly recommended. 6 Weeks by Matt Goodfellow. After his mum dies, Alfie Piper is left with 6 weeks of summer and a home that's fallen silent. So he takes his bike and rides, using the days away to think about grief, his stepdad, and what home now means. Told in sparkling, sparse verse by Matt Goodfellow, with emotive illustrations by Joe Todd Stanton, this outstanding, moving and ultimately uplifting story for 10-plus-year-olds reveals a boy trying desperately to work out how to keep going when family life is disintegrating. A Flood of Memories by Nadia Mikhail. Flood season pulls Layla back from Kuala Lumpur to Sarawak, where she must help her Mac and face the memories she's avoided since her father's death. For 12-plus-year-old young adult readers, this brilliant novel brings together an enchanting and life-affirming story of family trauma, control, grief and first love, as Layla is forced to weigh Arthur's support against what it might cost her. Highly recommended, it's a great contemporary pick for Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 book clubs. Winners and Liars by Alima Omatoni. Deryn is bound for Cambridge when the deaths of her favourite professor and his wife lead to a will reading with extraordinary conditions. Students must compete in twisty challenges linked to Cornelia Darnley's historical novel, with Kenfield House and a huge inheritance at stake. It's a stunningly gripping, sharp and edgy young adult mystery for 13-plus-year-olds, with family secrets, scheming rivals, a warning note and a deliciously mysterious house whose past may not stay buried. Highly recommended for Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4. Libertad by Cassandra James. Ximena Real was trained to hunt pirates, but after escaping execution and becoming a resistance figure, she now sails as one herself. This Latin X-inspired romantasy sequel to Capitana follows Ximena through rebellion, forbidden magic, shifting loyalties, and the pull of Dante de Leon as she weighs the real cost of freedom. An accessible, imaginative and liberating read, it's ideal for adventure-seeking 13-plus-year-olds. The Heirs by Farida Abike Iamidi. 5 gifted siblings raised under the ruthless Button method are thrown into chaos when their billionaire father is murdered during his own prodigy ball. Trapped inside the family mansion, Octavius, Fola, Bilal, Perdita and Romeo turn on each other as secrets surface. This character-driven YA thriller for 14-plus-year-olds blends claustrophobic mystery with dagger-sharp family tension. Exploring themes of ambition, trauma and the cost of being shaped into something you never choose, it's a thrilling ride for Key Stage 4 readers. Shadow Reaper by Lynette Noni. In the city of Aravel, deadly black mist and reapers shape everyday life. 17-year-old Viridia Solis hunts reapers, driven by the loss of her parents and a single target, the Reaper Priest. But when she captures his lieutenant, Reeve Ashton, he offers her a route to revenge that comes with serious consequences. Action-shifting loyalties and sharp dialogue drive this stunning opening of a YA fantasy duology for 14-plus-year-olds, built on danger, tension, and uneasy alliances. Fake Out, Make Out by Kate Williams. Charlie Ross was a champion runner before chronic illness forced her away from competition and into a job at Fire, a sports logistics company doubling as a hush-hush espionage operation. This 18-plus new adult romance mixes international sport, covert missions, stolen arms, forced proximity, and a guarded spy handler who doesn't want Charlie anywhere near the danger. It's a compelling brew of secrets and romance. Thank you to all the publishers and publicists for sending us books to review here on this podcast and on our website schoolreadinglist.co.uk. Here's our rundown of great new children's books hitting the shelves this July. The First Works of Shakespeare by Adam Thompson. The Summer My Wishes Came True by Radhika Sangani. How to Lose Yourself Completely by Peter Bognani. Othello by William Shakespeare. How to Steal the Future by Christopher Edge. Captain Sunshine by Alex Milway. Evie in Venice by Bruna De Luca. Blood of Gods and Girls by Katja Kane. Beacons of Light by Gemma Cooman. Thornbird by E. Kennedy. Ziggy the Caterpillar's Zigzag Adventure by Beatrice Simkis. They Sent a Cat to Saturn by Valerie Bloom. Ray by Mariana Coppo. Where Lost Girls Go by Cody Keplinger. Us and Them by James Carter. Eternally Yours by Anika Hussain. The Sound of a Smile by Louise Gregg. When I Was a Wolf by Liz Flanagan. Outlaws by E. L. Norrie. And Now We Run by Nicola Penfold. Elfie's Spellbook by Christoph Arliston and Audrey Allward. Heled's Song by Fiona Collins. Mysterious Things by Andy J. Pizza and Sophie Miller. A Day Off School by Oliver Jeffers. Murder at the Mansion by Paul Westmoreland. Step Inside Homes Through History by Goldie Hawk. Zero Override by Steve Blackman. Hell to Pay by Laura Beth Johnson. My Big Fat Smelly Poo Diary 5, The Phantom Pooper by Jim Smith. Diary of a Number One Superfan by Pamela Bouchard. Weather Camera Action by Liam Dutton. And our picture book of the month is The First Works of Shakespeare by Adam Thompson. Our non-fiction book of the month is Beacons of Light by Gemma Cooman, and our fiction book of the month is Hell to Pay by Laura Beth Johnson. Bookity book, let's get reading. If you're a teacher, librarian or avid bookworm who loves children's or YA books and you'd like to review brand new titles for the school reading list, get in touch by email. We'd love to hear from you. The address is reviews@schoolreadinglist.co.uk. And here are some standout titles from one of our most popular new reading lists, Books for Teenage Boys Who Don't Like Reading. Happy Head by Josh Silver. Seb just wants to make his parents proud, so he agrees to join a program that claims to solve the national crisis of teenage unhappiness. However, as he grows closer to the mysterious Finn, Seb realises the organisers of the Happy Head retreat might have sinister motives. Can he escape before it's too late? Happy Head is a convincing dystopia that turns the notion of happiness upside down and might cause teens to question what society has decided is good for them. Highly recommended. Good News by Rashmi Surdish Pandey, illustrated by Adam Hayes. Bad news can make the world feel frighteningly bleak, but this illustrated non-fiction guide asks children to look at the fuller picture. Perfect for less confident teen readers, it gathers real examples of progress, kindness and problem-solving, from healthcare robots to planet-helping trees, while helping readers spot fake news and think critically about what they read. It's a hopeful, practical choice for classrooms and homes in where children need facts, perspective and a little more confidence about the future. Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs by Caitlin Doughty. Questions about dead bodies get clear, funny and surprisingly direct answers from a mortician who takes children's curiosity seriously. A lively non-fiction choice for teens, it tackles questions about decomposition, coffins, corpses, skeletons, funeral customs and what happens to bodies after death, with illustrations by Deanne Ruth. Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs is frank, addictively odd, and genuinely informative, making it a strong pick for curious readers who prefer facts to fiction. Free Lunch by Rex Ogle. Starting secondary school while hiding hunger, poverty and family stress gives Rex's first term a raw honesty that many memoirs never reach. 12-plus-year-olds can follow his life on the Free Lunch programme, where second-hand clothes, missing supplies and lunchtime humiliation sit alongside his longing for steadier care at home. It's short, direct and emotionally sharp, ideal for discussion around poverty, dignity and resilience. What If by Randall Munro. The daftest scientific questions are taken completely seriously here, from impossible disasters to wildly impractical experiments. Science-minded 13-plus-year-olds can dip into Randall Munro's physics, maths, diagrams and sharp cartoon humour, as he answers the oddest questions sent in by fans of XKCD. It's a clever choice for fact-hungry teens who like science best when it begins with an unlikely "what would happen if?" The Faithful Spy by John Henrichs. A German pastor's decision to resist Hitler becomes a tense visual account of faith, conscience and moral risk. A gripping and immersive choice for 13-plus-year-olds, this graphic biography follows Dietrich Bonhoeffer alongside the rise of Nazi power, showing how his beliefs led him to dangerous resistance work. The combination of bold artwork, history and ethical questions suits readers ready for serious World War II non-fiction. How to Love by Alex Norris. First crushes, jealousy, singlehood, breakups and self-respect get the comic panel agony aunt treatment in this inclusive guide to relationships. Ideal for 13-plus-year-olds, the book answers questions about feelings and connection in a full-colour graphic novel format that's frank without being heavy. Its warm, funny approach makes it useful for teens working out how to understand themselves as well as other people. Big Words by Luke Palmer. On the forbidden wasteland called Kiln, the rule is simple. The biggest goes first. Particularly suitable for readers aged 12+ with a reading age of 8, this short dyslexia-friendly story follows Sam and his friends when a dangerous sledging stunt on a rusting car bonnet ends in disaster. It opens up friendship, pressure and masculinity in a way that feels tense, accessible and very discussable. No Worries by Nicola Morgan. Teenage anxiety is explained as something to understand and work with, not something to feel ashamed of. Written for teens, this practical well-being guide breaks down how anxiety affects the brain and body, then offers practical strategies for calming worries and handling the pressures of modern life. It's reassuring without being vague, with enough science to be useful and enough warmth to feel accessible. Highly recommended. Here's a selection of exciting new book tasters sent to us by new and self-published children's authors this month.
Hello, my name is Thomas Henrichs. Together with my wife, I created the Reading, Laughing, Learning series for children aged 6 to 10. In a world filled with screens, we wanted to create books that encourage curiosity, creativity, and shared family time. Each book combines beautiful illustrations with opportunities to discover details, invent stories, answer simple writing prompts, and explore fascinating topics such as dinosaurs, birds, ocean animals, flowers, fruits, vegetables, dogs, cats, and many more. Rather than simply reading a book, children become active participants, creating their own unique experience on every page. The Reading, Laughing, Learning books are available worldwide on Amazon in paperback editions. Thank you for listening and happy reading.
My name is G.O.A.T and I'm here today to talk to you about a fantastic children's book. Bibble Bobble Wibble Wobble, written by Terence Begner out of love for his grandson Cameron, and with the aim of improving his grandson's speech development, is filled with engaging, rhyming and tongue-twisting vocabulary. It's a short story about a wibble-wobbling Bibble Bobble who goes to school and learns that although everyone's different, he can be his happiest around everyone else. You can really feel the fun printed in the page of this book, which tells a simple yet relatable story for kids to latch onto and enjoy. With an addition of bright illustrations and colouring pages at the end, this heartfelt tale is perfect for any school reading list. They say the best books are the ones written with a touch of personality and a touch of heart. Bibble Bobble certainly has those ingredients mixed in with relatable material. Already described as a children's favourite story on Amazon reviews, this bright and beneficial read can be found for sale on Amazon and Kindle. Keep wibble wobbling.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Thomas, and my children's book is called Leo and the Dragon of Sound. What if the world felt so loud that every clang, cheer, and crash became part of a dragon-sized adventure? Leo and the Dragon of Sound is a magical picture book for children ages 5 to 10, especially little listeners who experience sound sensitivities, sensory overwhelm, or use tools like ear defenders or headphones. This story follows Leo, a young knight who hears the world more loudly than others. When he faces a dragon made of sound, he discovers that needing support does not make him weak. It makes him brave in his own way. This book is a warm read for families, classrooms, libraries, and anyone looking for a story about empathy, kindness, neurodiversity, and helping children feel understood. Leo and the Dragon of Sound will be available July 1st through Amazon and ukbookshop.org and most bookstores. Thank you for listening.
If you'd like to get in touch and leave a recorded shout-out about your upcoming self-published children's book, have a look at our podcast webpage for more details. The pupil librarian takeover. What happens when children spend a book budget? The most useful thing about the National Year of Reading 2026 may not be that it tells children to read more. Schools have been saying that for years, often with impressive patience. Its real value is that it begins somewhere more honest, with the things children and teenagers already care about. Go All In, led by the National Literacy Trust with the Department for Education, is built around the line, if you're into it, read into it. It treats reading as a way into football, gaming, music, fashion, food, film, family life, hobbies, and the other interests already tugging at a child's attention. That sounds straightforward enough, but in schools it leads to a much sharper question. If reading is supposed to start with children's interests, how often do pupils get a real say in the books schools buy? Imagine handing a group of pupils a genuine slice of the school library budget. This wouldn't be pretend money, a token vote, or a World Book Day wish list that vanishes once the display comes down. It would be a real order, with real limits, real prices and real decisions. What would they choose? More interestingly, what would adults think they would choose, and how different would the two lists be? That gap is where things start to get useful. Teachers, librarians, parents, publishers and booksellers all have views about what children should read. Those views matter. Adults bring knowledge, judgment and care, and a school library would be poorer without that. Children, though, notice things adults often miss. They know which covers get laughed at in corridors. They know which series are passed around. They know which books feel too young for Year 8, even when the reading level looks right. They know when a title has gone cold, when a film or song has revived interest, and when a whole friendship group is suddenly talking about manga, horror, football, baking, Formula 1, K-pop, gaming, animals, romance or fashion. This is not a soft extra, it's reading data, just with fewer spreadsheets and more honesty. The latest National Literacy Trust figures offer a small reason for optimism, but not a reason to relax. In 2026, 36.1% of children and young people aged 8 to 18 said they enjoyed reading in their free time, up from 32.7% in 2025. Daily reading also rose slightly, with 20.3% saying they read every day in their free time, compared with 18.7% the year before. That is movement in the right direction, but it's still fragile. Most children are not reading daily for pleasure, and many still do not see reading as something that properly belongs to them. A pupil-led book budget will not solve that by itself. It could, however, help schools stop guessing. Many school book-buying systems remain largely adult-led. Some of that is necessary. A library collection has to be balanced, aged-appropriate, inclusive, durable and affordable. It also has to support less confident readers, keen readers, curriculum needs, intervention work, quiet comfort reading and genuine challenge. It also has to avoid being swallowed up by the same 5 series every year, however beloved they might be. The trouble starts when adult judgment slides into adult assumption. Schools may overbuy classics and underbuy graphic novels. They may stock plenty of curriculum-linked non-fiction while missing books about sport, gaming, music, fashion, food, survival, animals, practical hobbies and online life. They may buy titles that look worthy in a catalogue while overlooking the books pupils are already waiting for. They may treat fandom, tie-ins and celebrity books as shallow, while for some pupils those books are the bridge into reading. This is not a case for letting children buy everything. That would be a quick route to 10 copies of the same thing and one very tired librarian. It is a case for taking pupil choice seriously and then curating it properly. Pupils bring appetite, honesty and peer credibility. Librarians bring stock knowledge, safeguarding, progression, diversity, supply knowledge and budget discipline. Teachers bring insight into pupils who are not already library users. Parents understand home reading habits. Booksellers and publishers know what's available, affordable and likely to survive heavy use. The best school libraries probably draw on all of that knowledge at once. A pupil librarian takeover could work as a simple 5-day experiment. On Monday, adults predict the top 20 pupil requests. On Tuesday, pupils vote, pitch and request books. On Wednesday, pupil librarians turn those ideas into a shortlist with support from a librarian or reading lead. On Thursday, the group spends a real slice of the budget, £100, £250, £500 or 25% of the next order. On Friday, the school shares the results through a "We Asked, You Bought" display. The display is not just decoration. It tells students that the library has listened. It makes the process visible. Children can see that choice does not mean getting everything they ask for. A pupil request still has to be weighed against age range, price, stock balance, representation, condition, format, and whether the book adds something worthwhile to the shelves. That structure matters because pupil choice can repeat the same inequalities found elsewhere in school life. Confident readers may ask for more. Less confident readers may say nothing. Popular pupils may dominate. Quieter interests may disappear completely. A good pupil-led process needs several ways in. Anonymous forms, tutor group discussions, request slips, loans data, pupil panels, teacher observations, and direct questions for pupils who rarely visit the library. Pupil librarians should not be limited to stamping books and tidying shelves. They can become reading researchers. They can audit missing genres, ask which books feel embarrassing to carry, check which series have waiting lists, find out why some books never move, record 30-second book pitches, build what comes next shelves, and ask non-readers what they actually read outside school. That might include lyrics, subtitles, game guides, fan wikis, sports news, recipes, forums, reviews, manga scans, and social posts. The last question is worth asking because the route into reading may not look like a novel at first. A pupil who cares about football may start with match reports, biographies, club histories, or graphic non-fiction. A pupil who likes Minecraft may move through game guides into design, coding, survival fiction, or world building. A pupil who wants book talk romance but is 13 needs careful age-aware help, not a shrug or a blanket ban. And a pupil who loves horror needs more than battered old Goosebumps copies and a GCSE Gothic extract. The 2026 What Kids Are Reading discussion about boys and Diary of a Wimpy Kid is a useful warning. The point is not to sneer at what children love. A familiar series can give people confidence, comfort, and reader identity. The better question is what comes next. If a boy in Year 8 still wants Wimpy Kid, which other funny, visual, and fast-moving books might take him one step further? If pupils keep asking for the same thing, schools should not simply say yes or no. They should ask what the choice is doing for that reader, then build a pathway from it. There is a practical budget argument too. If a school has £500, £1,000 or £1,500 to spend, pupils should probably not control all of it. They should control some of it. A sensible model might give half the budget to the librarian or reading lead core stock, a quarter to pupil librarian takeover, a smaller selection to curriculum and intervention support, and a rapid response pot for sudden pupil interest. That rapid response fund could be one of the more useful parts of the whole idea. Children's interests move faster than annual library orders. A new film, song, football tournament, game, viral author, TV adaptation, local issue or news story can create a reading opportunity that will not wait politely for the next catalogue meeting. The Summer Reading Challenge 2026 Read to the Beat gives school a ready-made seasonal hook. A pupil librarian group could create music-linked displays, summer shelves, playlists, book lists, and September recommendations shaped by what pupils say they're already listening to, watching, and talking about. That turns a national campaign into something concrete, a shelf, a request, a borrowed book, and, ideally, a few good conversations. School libraries are now part of the wider national discussion about reading for pleasure. Parliament's Education Committee has been examining the issue, including the role of schools, libraries, homes and early years settings. The School Library Association has argued for stronger funding and proper library provision. If more attention or money does reach school libraries, the next question should not only be how much is spent, it should be who helps decide. The answer should not be adults alone, and it shouldn't be pupils alone. A library built entirely from adult intentions can become a museum of what grown-ups value. A library built only from pupil requests can become narrow, repetitive, and too dependent on the loudest voices. The best version sits between the two. Let pupils argue for the books. Let adults test, shape, and balance the list. Then let the whole school see the result. The National Year of Reading asks schools to connect reading with what children already love. A pupil librarian takeover makes that idea practical. It treats children's choices seriously, but not uncritically. It respects librarianship, but doesn't allow adult assumptions to have the final word. It turns book buying into a conversation rather than a closed-door order form. The best £500 a school spends on books might be the £500 pupils argue over, defend, refine, and then persuade their friends to borrow. If you'd like to get in touch, use the hashtag SRLpodcast on Twitter or drop us a line using the contact form or messaging button on our website schoolreadinglist.co.uk. And all the books lived happily ever after. The end.